This is a unique episode of Too Many Records because it's going to be dealing with more hardware related stuff than we usually do. Allison knows nothing about turntables.
No, nothing.
Nothing. I know a little about turntables, and I mean that seriously. I know a lot about records, but not a ton about the hardware and how to explain how to set it up. So in this video, I have purchased a budget turntable setup with vintage equipment, and I am going to walk through setting it up for her and for you.
It's gonna be an experience.
It's gonna be something. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Nervous? I'm nervous. I'm the one who has to do these things I don't really know how to do. I was lucky.
Don't destroy the turntable.
I was really lucky because when I got my setup, everything was pretty much working right perfectly. It was from the 70s and it's still like, I just had to replace the stylus, which was super easy. Just snap it on and off. This is a little more in depth. So you don't have to spend a ton of money to get into records. You have to spend a fair amount. It is not a cheap hobby. Like if you want to take the cheap way out and get a Crosley, or if you want to get an all-in-one of any kind, it's going to suffer. Your record's going to suffer. The audio quality is going to suffer. It's not a hobby that you can get into and just cheap out. You have to spend some money. But you don't have to spend a ton of money if you're thrifty. I purchased this equipment from Goodwill and from OfferUp. Now, Goodwill, I found this, it was $10. This bad boy right here is a Yamaha RX 730. Now, Yamaha's a pretty good brand, pretty consistent, and I turned it on in the store, which is important. If you buy something used at a Goodwill, always try it, make sure it works, because half that shit in there doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now this works, it turns on. I'm gonna save the receiver part for the end of this because the turntable is the hardest part to set up, even though it's not that difficult. I'm just gonna try to not be incompetent about it. Your main setup is pretty much consisting of three things. You're gonna have a turntable, duh. You're gonna have a receiver and speakers. Now, the receiver should ideally have a phono preamp built into it, so you don't have to get another additional preamp. If you can tell that, if you look at the back of a receiver and you see an input that says phono, that means it's ready to go, ready to be plugged in.
Phono, ready to go.
Just remember that dumb rhyme and you're good to go.
Hey.
So I'm gonna move this bad boy over here and let's focus on le turntable. So this right here, this turntable right here, is not a DJ turntable actually. This is a Technics SL2000. Actually, maybe you could DJ on this, but we're not gonna DJ on it. We're getting it to listen to good music. I got this on OfferUp, which is kind of like Craigslist. You can search for things on your phone in a Craigslist style fashion and find what's around you. And I found a guy selling this for $10.
Damn.
$10. I turned it on,
Boom.
it works, it spins, but it was missing a few essential things. This is the head shell. The head shell is what's at the end of the arm. You can unplug this from the actual tone arm, and the head shell has a cartridge on it, and the cartridge usually has a needle or stylus on it. So another issue is that the piece that holds the tone arm up is a little loose, but that's really just a cosmetic thing. You can look past that. This is a direct drive turntable, so everything, it spins properly. I'm hoping that the speed, everything works internally. I'm assuming it does.
Let's hope.
Basically, the first thing that we have to do is we have to replace the cartridge, which is not the easiest thing in the world, but we're gonna do it.
It looks very complicated, so this will be
not that complicated. So a good thing to do whenever you pick up a vintage turntable is go to vinylengine.com. You can actually go and download manuals of old stuff for free, which is great because a lot of this stuff does not come with manuals. So that's a good place to start. But with this, we're gonna have to remove this cartridge, and the first part of removing the cartridge is taking out these leads. There's 4 different color leads. There's red, green, blue, and white.
So small.
So small.
So small.
And you basically have to just remove them with a tweezer.
Boom. Just like that. Just kind of gotta
finesse it. I don't have the delicacy that you have. I'm too impatient. You're doing it well, and I would just rip the whole cartridge apart.
Oh, look at that. Maybe I should show you guys exactly what's going on here. And you can do it? You can do it for me? Yeah, baby.
Oh, there it is.
Get them all loose like that.
Simple tasks done by Matt and Allison.
Woo! No. Done by Allison, not Matt.
I got a knife. Eventually, when you take the screws out, then you can remove the cartridge after you remove the leads, and you can get your new cartridge. Now, I purchased a cartridge that works well with this turntable. Not all cartridges work with every turntable, so I recommend going to the Steve Hoffman forums or even the Reddit vinyl forums, posting what turntable you picked up and asking what cartridge works. Now, this is an Audio Technica 1895E. This is a pretty generic cartridge that works with a lot of turntables, including this bad boy right here. So what you'll do is you'll take off the little plastic piece that blocks the stylus from getting damaged in transit, obviously. Slide that right off. And what you're gonna wanna do is when you're installing the cartridge, so this is the cartridge and this is the needle stylus, you're gonna wanna take this off so that during the installation you don't screw anything up, bump the cantilever, you know, do anything to the actual needle. Now, usually these just pop right off, but I'm nervous and my hands are sweaty.
Would you like me to do it, sir?
Yeah, you should learn how to do this. I could totally do it, but like you should just learn, you know?
Yeah.
This is video for you. So you're gonna wanna take the stylus off of the cartridge when you mount it so you don't cause any damage. It usually just pops right off. Sometimes you have to pry it, but this is a good way to just leave that aside right there. Then you have your cartridge. So let's get this bad boy replacing the Stanton that was on here before. All right, so top left is white, you said?
Mm-hmm. And then the...
Hold on, give me a second.
All right, so top left, white. Whoa! You might have to like slowly put it on there. There you go.
Okay.
Top right is red.
Top right is red? Oh, of course they make it all tangled and very difficult to reach.
Oh, but of course.
But of course.
Rocket science. Rocket science.
Rocket power.
Rocket power.
Okay.
And then the bottom left is green.
Oh, you can hold it by that part. That makes it kind of easier.
Rocket science. And then obviously, blue, bottom right.
I could have figured that one out. Let's do a little tweeze action.
Little tweeze.
Little Tweeze, my favorite new rapper.
Little tweeze. Oh,
all right.
Funny sometimes.
Ta-da!
We did it.
We did it. So now we have to actually put the cartridge aligned properly underneath. Now,
yay!
That's something that I'm not super familiar with, and I know that this is kind of a trial and error kind of thing where
Trial and error.
if you don't have it aligned right, it's gonna sound wrong. So I'm not sure exactly how to figure out how to get the alignment, but I think it's towards the front like this.
We can do it.
After you screw the cartridge in, you're gonna wanna put the needle back on. So you pretty much just get it there, you're gonna snap it back into place. You hear a nice snap sound, you got your needle.
Boom!
So then you're just gonna go to your head shell. I'm gonna stand up for a second. Put this back on, and then you can just screw it right back on to the tone arm. So we did the first part, the first hard part.
There's more?
There's more.
What?
The next part is something that people are a little scared about. It's called balancing the tone arm. Now, it can be difficult, it can be easy. It's very easy if you purchase a scale to actually track the tracking force on the scale. I purchased one for this video, but they did not include the battery with it, so we're not using it, and we're gonna have to eyeball it, which is just as fun. So this is the tone arm, and on the back is the counterweight. Now there's two different rings on the counterweight. There's the outside ring, and then the inner one that spins completely differently. Next to the counterweight is the anti-skate. To begin this process, you're gonna wanna start the anti-skate at 0. That's just the base 0. And then you're gonna wanna put the front ring also at 0.
Do you only use these rings in order to do this? Like,
yeah, once you do this, you theoretically never have to mess with it again.
Okay.
So basically, you wanna mess with this back ring until the arm floats. See, if you twist it a lot, it goes up.
Yeah, I see, okay.
But you just want it to be kind of floating in the middle here.
Yeah.
Doing this without a scale can be kind of difficult.
But we're pros, man. This reminds me of when I was a kid and they had those little birds that used to balance on your finger. Do you know what I'm talking about? Nostalgia.
Those were probably invented from people that like turntables. So it's still not really balanced. It's still not floating.
Oh, there you go. Wait, no, it's still a little low. You're very close though.
If provided I did this right, which I might not have, once it floats, you turn the front ring to whatever the tracking force that your turntable needs. You'll find that in the manual for it probably. This is 1.75 grams. So you're gonna wanna change both the front ring and the anti-skate to match. So I'm changing that right here. And theoretically, it should be good when we play the music. Now, it may or may not be. We'll get to that after we set up the receiver. The turntable hopefully works. We'll find out soon.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. We might have done everything wrong and it's just gonna explode with sound and ruin all the speakers.
Or just explode the entire turntable.
So this is pretty much plug and play at this point, but there is an important factor of the speakers. So you need to buy speaker wire. Very cheap. You can get it for less than 10 bucks at Home Depot. And you're gonna wanna take the speakers and plug them into the receiver with this. Now, you have to strip the wire and you have to cut the wire to whatever length you need for your setup. So sometimes the wire is red and black. These are actually more of a copper and aluminum color, but I'm gonna take the length and you're gonna want a couple different strands of this because you're gonna connect the speakers twice. So the first time you're gonna split them and then you're gonna put them in A and B. And the second wire, you're gonna do the same. So you're gonna wanna cut whatever length you think you need. For the sake of this video, we don't need too much, so I'm just gonna cut something and hope that it's good enough for my friend that I'm getting this turntable for.
So what you're gonna do with this wire is you're going to split it, and then you're going to take wire cutters and then strip it so that the protective covering is not on it anymore, so that you can plug it in. You're gonna do it to both sides.
And if you don't have wire cutters, you can do it with scissors, you can do it with flame. There's a lot of ways to do it. Look on other tutorials on YouTube and they can show you much better than I can.
Do it, I can't split it, my nails are in the way. When you strip the wires, you're gonna wanna do at least 1/2 inch so that when you stick it in there, it doesn't clamp onto the plastic. And then once you strip it, you're going to twist it, otherwise the wires will start to fray. And then after you're done splitting and stripping this wire, you're gonna cut another piece and do the exact same thing, repeat the process.
Which I'm gonna do while she strips it, because teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork! Teamwork makes the dream work.
So you take the wire and you take the red side and then you take the black side. They're not quite red and black on this one, but you put the red inside of the red one on the back of the receiver and the black side of the black. You'll do the same for the speakers. So you'll actually have to take the little lever and push it up and you put it inside just enough for the connection to catch as you close the door on it. Very simple, very straightforward. We're gonna do it for the other speaker wire and then we're gonna attach the wires to the actual speakers. So now that the speakers are plugged into the receiver, I'm gonna move these away and you have to make sure that you ground the turntable to the receiver. Now, the turntable's gonna have a little grounding cable. And what you do is you unscrew a back. It's usually GND, I believe it says. It says, yeah, GND. So you're gonna unscrew it. And then you're gonna put the cable inside of it. And screw it back on over it. And what that does is that ensures that it has a strong connection to the actual, there's no static or interference. So now we're just basically gonna plug everything in, hope we did it right, and see if it works. All right, so this isn't the best setup, as we know. This is a budget setup, and you can always upgrade things as you move along, but let's hope that with this, you know,
it at least works.
Easy to get set up, it works, and let's find out. We're playing Sufjan Stevens' Carrie and Lowell. Amazing album to christen any turntable with. I'm gonna jump a little bit into the first song, just get right to the meat of it. Let's hear how it sounds.
But I don't know where to begin. Again, I lost my strength completely.
We did it.
Oh,
Yes.
I think it looks balanced. The tone arm isn't wobbling back and forth. It's not skipping. It's not jumping around. It sounds good. It sounds clear. Let's hear this part.
Amethyst and flowers on the table. Is it real or a fable?
So it sounds pretty darn good for not knowing exactly what we were doing and just trying to make everything work. There might be some minor things that can be adjusted to optimize sound a bit, but I think it sounds good.
Yeah, it was quite a learning experience. We did a damn good job, I think.
Totally. So this was a proof right here that you can get a cheap turntable setup if you want to get started with the hobby. And this is going to be way better than a Crosley, and it's going to cost you less. And it's cool. It's great to have a full setup with speakers and everything.
And it doesn't take a terribly long, like ridiculous amount of time either to figure it all out. So
it's pretty quick. Last thing I'll say is going vintage can be risky. You're not entirely sure what you're buying. Always try it and make sure it at the very least turns on, spins, or if it's a receiver, it turns on and you can press all the buttons and everything does something.
And when you do buy a vintage piece like this, you should probably replace the cartridge like right off the bat just so you don't damage your records.
Totally. You never know how much wear it has. Always replace the needle because the needle could have been playing for 40 years and then you definitely want to get a new needle. All this worked pretty well. Yeah. Very cheap setup, and hopefully you can get a cheap setup too. If you have questions, leave a comment. I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. I'm not a master of this, but I know a few things.
A few things.
Thank you for helping me with this. I hope you learned something.
I learned a lot, actually.
If you like this video and you want to see more how-tos, let me know in the comments. Leave a thumbs up. Please subscribe to Too Many Records if you have not yet.
Like the video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to follow Too Many Records _ on Instagram.
And follow the Allison Sharp on Instagram.
Yay.
I'll put that in the description for you. Till the next time.
Bye.